so I'm just happy to be here. Happy to still have a job. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, having a job's pretty sweet. I'm not going to deny that.
Factual things. Only the facts here on this stream. As you're right, this really should be interesting, shouldn't it? Because it is, you know, the team that just won a major, right? You would think that all things are secure, that it should be making it to some of these big tournaments no problem, but then they lose a pretty key piece. The guy who steers the ship, the captain, to Zeus, who has gone back to Na'Vi. And from what I understand, apparently it is Adren who is taking over in-game leading, which to me would be the person I would least want to in-game lead on this team. Just because of how good he's been, and I wouldn't want anything to take away from that. So hopefully he'll be able to balance the two jobs.
Yeah, I mean, historically, when a player has been sort of one of your star roles, going into an in-game leading slot doesn't normally bode too well. There's very few players that can pull that off. So I do worry a little bit for him, but yeah, I want to see how fit he's going to come in.
Are the only two I can think of that maintain form while leading. Glaive to a degree, I guess. So it's definitely a tough one, but Hobbit opens up pretty nicely to kick things off here, but it is quickly traded by Waylander.
Not really going to do too much with that avenge kill, though. FlipSide still have the bomb way back towards the T-spawn. Starting to move in now on the B side. That's given Gambit the opportunity to get a third player rotated across to B. So this isn't going to be an easy take by FlipSide. They still have plenty of utility, though. 2 smokes, a molly, 2 flashes. That's at the cost of 2 kits, though. It could come back to haunt them. One of those smokes going up into heaven. Molly on the barrels, which is where Dozier is currently sat. So he's going to have to scamper away. He's able to do so uncontested. And now they're setting up in decent positions, but Waylander with 2 USB headshots is going to give the huge advantage to FlipSide. Even though Markaloff is pretty low, Fitch is going to catch Waylander out in the open. I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking there, because it clearly be seen from the graffiti side just gifting his life away, and Gambit have got the retake. It was looking like FlipSide would just run away with this round, not the case.
No, really kind of nifty work from Fitch over there, who was playing from graffiti in kind of a weird spot. Don't really see people jumped up on top like he was, kind of playing the edge of his smoke, just kind of blindsiding people. And that will allow Gambit to come in and get the defuse. That bomb plant, though, does, of course, open up the options for FlipSide to get a buy in the 3rd round, full AKs and all that. So you may see a full save coming up here, you would imagine. Because we're talking about kind of like Gambit's move, which did actually go through. But remember that Electronic was on his way out of this team, perhaps to join up with Angel at Na'Vi. So you have to kind of wonder if that's maybe soured the grapes over on that team to a degree, as they've certainly not been without their struggles, right? I mean, yeah, they've managed to make majors, but not do much at them, and results have been pretty mixed otherwise for them as well. So they have a lot to prove themselves. Fitch, the new guy, continues to go to work right now for Gambit. He's got a pair of kills in this round.
Yeah, I'd say so far the debutants haven't really given us too much to be excited by in these previous best of 3s. Hellraiser's team looked really quite poor, but maybe Fitch is going to be the exception to the rule. He's already looked pretty solid.
Did you just assume their gender?
You what, mate?
Call them debutantes.
What? That's just lost on me, mate. I'm not going to lie.
It's all good.
Top kick. Quality banter. Gambit have just rolled over FlipSide. They're going to have AKs now anyway.
Forget it. Best left we leave that alone.
You're trying to trigger as many people as possible today. It's like equal opportunities triggering. If you trigger everybody,
yep,
it's okay.
Absolutely. Go on then, cast.
I don't know where to take it from me now.
Just do your play-by-play.
Yeah, well, Electronics are chilling in balloons, looking at walls, sound, wall that it's walking around. Some top quality play-by-play.
Yeah, it's doing great.
To be fair, wall that it has got an entry onto the A side. It's Fitch that's gone down. And I'm always a bit confused when players peek out like that without any kind of smokes or flashes or any second player to really help them out. He ultimately peaked by himself and just got wasted. So that's really going to hurt Gambit on the A side. But now smoke on me is doing a great job of holding down the fort until Wool let it just charges through with Electronic, leaving just Hobbit left. And he is currently trying to make something miraculous happen from the dumpster, but now he's been found out. It's looking more and more likely that FlipSide will just convert this round and bring it back to a 2-1. I mean, Hobbit doesn't have a kit, he doesn't have nades, he's basically just running fully off this UMP. And Hobbit has gone down. I love that people were taking that power play earlier seriously, by the way. That is just next level.
What do you mean?
Doesn't matter.
Fair enough. As that was a good round from FlipSide. You really got to give a lot of credit to World Edit. I mean, that push he did on Optimus was really kind of the linchpin of the whole round. That's really what brought it through for FlipSide, who did get that earlier buy thanks to the first round bomb plant, and definitely just great entry work over on the A side. Kind of picked up the pace, doing something faster. Oh my goodness, Blade. Giving Mo a free haircut through a box.
Yeah, honestly, there's no reason not to do that at the start of the round.
Yep.
If you have the right pixel, you have the right angle, you can really neutralize any short pushes, which allows your players to go through short tunnels knowing they're not going to be contested. Then it's more around connector they have to be worried about, because sometimes CTs will push down there. So FlipSide's off to a great start in this round too. Adrent may be able to take out Markelov behind the pillar and use that smoke to his advantage, but peeks through and the barrel was showing before he managed to get out there, so Markelov with the easiest kill of the rounds. And now Fitch is basically screwed. I mean, to be honest, I'd probably just backing away and saving if I'm in this position. There's no real hope of them getting anything done in this. Save the M4, save the Kevlar. Come back stronger in the next round.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, even though they've won the past couple of rounds, they did the last one pretty clean, to be fair. This one really hurts. And so that'll be 2 losses in a row, very little money coming in, a lot of money put into this one, as obviously they had to rebuy everyone. But despite the clean round in the second, it really comes back to haunt them that they lost that that initial buy up from FlipSide. So it's going to be all square, and this should be a good chance for FlipSide to go ahead and take a lead, given that Gambit will just have that 1 M4 on Fitch to work with. But I don't really know too much about Fitch, to be honest. I know he played on Tengri, which is a Kazakhstani team that I know for a fact that he's played with a couple of these players before, particularly Hobbit.
Yep.
Who's kind of like the most recent addition from there, which is actually interesting because now Gambit has 4 players from Kazakhstan on their team, Dozia being the only one that's not from Kazakhstan. It's a random tidbit, throw that out there.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty similar boat as well, where I don't know much about Fitch. I know that he has connections with the majority of this team, and I think Hobbit in particular has really pushed for him to get into Gambit.
I mean, the interesting thing is he's not even a young player or anything like that. I think he's like 25 years old or something, so he's pretty late in his career by esports terms, I guess.
Yeah. Or at least breaking out into a higher tier team, for sure.
This is a huge leap for him. Same with Hobbit when he did it. So
yeah, I just hope from his perspective that he can really capitalize on this opportunity. Well, he's good for 1, but considering that it's just USPs alongside him, one of which is very low, it's not likely. Dozier is going to get a kill alongside Fitch. Surely you can't lose this round FlipSide. This should be yours. Dozier nearly TKs Fitch. What is happening? How is it possible that Gambit could potentially win this round now? Waylander on 7 health. I mean, this is some seriously poor CS that we've just witnessed in this round.
Yeah, that was definitely kind of some stuff you just don't expect to see happen. Luckily for Waylander, he's at least put the defense up a little bit. Dozia has to respect things, and Fitch might just get absolutely blindsided. What is going on in this round? Waylander will get the kill. He'll definitely get the bomb plant. Dozia has a 1v1. He doesn't have a kit, but he has to jump on Waylander, who's not expecting this fast of a flank, and Dozia will get the kill. And there were just flanks on flanks on flanks that round, man. Just everywhere. Yo, dog, I heard you like flanks.
Very, very strange round. I mean, there's USP kills aplenty as well. FlipSide, if they go back and watch this round, they are going to be face-palming hard. This honestly should not be going away with Gambit. Dozier with 3, picks up an AWP. FlipSide fail to get a 3rd round in a row. They will be able to buy with a couple of players around the 7 to 6k mark. so it shouldn't be an issue for them coming through in this round. A couple of players may be a little bit low in terms of nades, but I'm sure they'll make it work. Actually, I think Markov may be onto it just a CZ. It's a little bit rough. He's pretty damn strong, though, in the right hands.
Yeah, we'll see. As FlipSide usually known for being a very slow-paced team, one of the slowest-paced teams, kind of like similar to a Zeus-style team. Blades always really like to run the clock down. We've seen a lot of faster-paced stuff out of FlipSide, though, throughout what we've seen so far in this game, but now it seems like they're getting back to kind of familiar territory, leaving Electronic lurking outside B, you know, Markelov playing stairs. This is their tried and true default for the most part. They will pivot world that it's AWP over towards the B side as well, though, so putting a little bit more weight towards that side of the map, trying to see if they can't find some type of opening. Adrin was being a bit aggressive on short, but now backs up and rotates over towards window as Fitch did spot a player here towards the bathrooms and did a fair amount of damage to him as well, to be fair. Gets away with it for free as well, so already a couple players chipped down, but look at Electronic, he's making a play. We'll get the entry on the Dozia, but at the cost of the op going down.
And Hobbit is stuck by himself. He really needs someone to help him out here. He's got a Dren now up in heaven. He's going to be able to cordon off one of the angles and allow Hobbit to watch the other one. But the other issue for Gambit at this stage is they have very few nades. Just 2 HEs and a Molotov. FlipSide with way more utility. Are they going to be able to plant it correctly, though? Adren in an aggressive position. Trying to push off the site. And there's the HE. Finds its way onto Waylander. Electronic needs to come up. There's an ocean of Molotov on the site that's going to separate the 2 CTs from one another. They're able to get both the kills. But it's not too much time left before planting. They are going to be able to finalize the plant, but with both players low, it's very possible they could pick this one. I think Mo just smashed Blade through the smoke, leaving Electronic on his own with just 23 health to work with. I've seen stranger things happen, but this is asking a lot of this star player, and he's gone for the first spray onto Mo. Nearly connects on the second one. Now, Fitch does have a kit. Electronic would be wise to go for this peak, but he's going to be into his demise. So Gambit have got it done, but they lost 4 players, and therefore their buy again is going to be pretty rough.
2 rounds in a row here for Gambit. Really well done, particularly Fitch there in the clutch again. He's actually been pretty on point for his team in a couple of key rounds. Helped them win the early ones, and that's a big wrap up for him in that one to keep Gambit ahead, stop a tie from coming in. And as you noted, the money is definitely being run dry here on FlipSide. They will buy what they can, and they have a chance to reset Gambit in a round like this, so we'll kind of hold and see what they can do. As it looks like they are going to once again get the pacing change in there. Look for something really fast over here at the B-bomb side, but Hobbit, he's pushing through short, catches Electronic with the key piece down already. He's going to turn back for more.
Blade needs to finalize this kill. They're going to line up for me. Very nearly gets 3. That would have been brutal for Gambit too. It would have been a 2-on-1 in their favor for FlipSide. But Mo just about holds on with his 13 health and does capitalize. World Edit now, though, has the AK in Kevlar, so he's coming through pretty strong. Has control of the bomb. And plenty of time in which to utilize. Could be all down to timing at this stage. Adren's up in heaven, but he hasn't spotted World Edit snaking his way onto the site. He's playing more passively. He actually thinks at this stage that World Edit could be going through graffiti via lower and coming up through the stairs, but now he's going to realize it's a bomb plant, but still World Edit comes out on top with just 2 health. And normally you'd fancy Mo in this scenario to clutch, but it's all on World Edit's positioning. He's hiding behind the pillar. Does he have any idea that Mo could be peeking from heaven? I think he's just seen him jump across and lands the headshot. And so FlipSide will clutch. Gambit just lost ultimately against a fairly low investment round.
You gotta wonder if Adren should have just waited for Mo to get into position so they could have taken it in a 2 versus 1. I mean, the bomb was already planted, so you couldn't really stop that from happening. That damage was already done economically, but you could have kind of waited it out maybe. You had the time, tried to go for it, almost got the frag, to be fair. I mean, he was damn close, so you can't harp on him too much, but it does hurt to lose a round like that, especially when Hobbit did so much work early on. And like you said, it was a low buy from FlipSide, and you had a pretty early kind of 5-on-3 there for a moment, so definitely a tough pill to swallow if your Gambit is now they will be on the back foot. Just the mag 7 on a Drin and some upgraded pistol sprinkled around with a little bit of armor. As FlipSide still aren't in a full buy themselves, they'll actually try to bring these SMGs over knowing that they were up against pistols, trying to see if they can't farm some dollars. Not a bad idea in a round like this. As again, they will slow things back down. But again, a lot of focus on this B side from FlipSide in this game thus far.
Fitch, the first to fall, the new man. Started pretty solidly on the map, has tailed off a little bit. Mo currently 10 and 5, top fragging on both sides by a little margin. And he's still very much alive with his CZ. However, he's on A, opposite side of the map to where the action is about to come down and take shape. Hobbit, how is he getting that kill onto Electronic? You'd have fancied him to get it every day of the week. Instead of Dren now with Max 7, up close and personal dispatches of Blade, and the bomb's now been dropped out in a horrific position. Adren is still alive long enough to land another kill onto World Edit. And now Wayland are going to be throwing out the Molotov. It hasn't quite spread to the other side of the pillar, so that's slightly whiff from his perspective. Finally, it spreads in the last tick. He's able to get 1 millisecond, surviving on 7 health. And again, FlipSide, with minimal health, get the job done. And Gambit must be feeling so sad right now.
Yeah, it does. It always hurts to get that close. I mean, even in a round where you didn't expect to do much because you're kind of on a force, when you get that close, you know, you just feel like you should get it, and they just didn't quite do it. There's just been quite a lot of crazy rounds like that, hasn't there? I've come down to kind of these like crazy 1v1s with low HP involved, and it's definitely been, you know, back and forth affair in that regard. We do have basically a full save from Gambit now. Blade trying to capitalize on it. He is going to be able to put his team through, mostly thanks to Electronic sweeping through with that Mac 10 to put some money in the bank and take the lead right back from Gambit, as no teams ever streak together more than 3 rounds. This is the biggest winning streak we've seen. This is what FlipSide's been able to do here lately. We'll see if that holds up, as it will be Gambit back onto a full buy, including Mo having the AWP.
And even with that 3-round streak, 2 of those rounds came down to 1 player left with sub 10 health. It goes to show how scrappy this game has been, how back and forth it's been. I'm happy to see that FlipSide are playing more aggressive T rounds. I mean, they're notorious for being a very slow, steady, unevolving teams that sometimes they just don't adapt. They're not versatile enough to cope with certain setups that they come up against. So I'm happy to see them already shifting up the pace a little bit. Hope we'll see more of that. Confrontation.
Yeah, I would say that from watching FlipSide play a lot over the years, this has been the one map where I have seen them have a little bit more in the playbook as far as aggressive stuff goes. Like, he definitely has executes that he can use, but they're usually late round stuff. But this is the one map where I've seen Blade, you know, be willing to do more aggressive plays in comparison to maybe the rest of the map pool. So just kind of like a little bit of a note there, as it looks like this round they're trying to see if they can't get Blade up along A. There is a bait setup going on for the CT side. They do have Mo at the AWP playing inside A site, kind of scoping down to take first action while he has a player up close, Adren. But Adren's actually going to go out for the peek here with a rifle, and that's a free frag for Blade, who's hiding behind the tree. And Waylander's also found a kill here, so the odds are stacking up against Gambit.
Yeah, on the harder side as well, T's able to get quite a few rounds under their belt already, and it's looking good if they can break Gambit once more. Only kill that's been yielded was the hands of Hobbit, who's still slap bang on the middle of A behind a truck. Mo is coming in with some fire support as well with his ult. He can dispatch now. Hobbit's going to try and spray his way out of trouble. Not going to happen. And Doja pushes the smoke. That is a ballsy play to say the least, and that has not paid off. FlipSide 6-4 in the lead with Gambit likely onto a half buy at best.
Yeah, and the crazy part is when you think about how this map pool went out for this series, I mean, Gambit got 2 of their best maps. I mean, Cobblestone's probably their best map, but Overpass and Train are probably the next 2 in line. That's 2 maps they get to play here, and they're on Overpass, and FlipSide's really taking it to them right now. Granted, I mean, FlipSide, Overpass is probably one of their best maps as well, and domestic matchups can always be a bit tricky, but nonetheless, this is a really big opening for FlipSide on this T side. Especially considering, like, the long-term effects as well. I mean, the economy for Gambit shattered for, I mean, the rest of this half, really.
Yeah, there's no doubting that they're already on 6 rounds and looking like a 7th. FlipSide are in great shape. I mean, in the current map pool, I feel like Overpass is one of the more CT-sided maps right now. A lot of maps are fairly balanced, or maybe even tipping the T side. But Overpass, still a lot of teams will get a lot more rounds on their CT side, because it allows you to play more aggressively. On the CT side, you can actually play aggro. You can go up towards where Waylander currently is in the balloons. You can go to the connector. You can even push through likes of Short on B. It affords you much more opportunities. But right now, Gambit are just being savaged. It's not even close this round. Unless Hobbit can pull off some heroics with 22 health. This is one by the wayside. He's going to get a second free kill. I'm not sure why Waylander's running in there, jumping up. But all the same, FlipSide will close the round out. 7-4. Gambit right back in with another bite.
We've seen some really great stuff out of FlipSide. I mean, even Blade, the in-game leaders, had some pretty big numbers, but obviously we've seen some really big individual plays. Particularly some impact rounds from World Edit and Electronic really come to mind, but nonetheless, we'll see if Gambit can recover here a bit, as they do have another full buy on their hands. Mo, again, with the AWP. And again, we're going to see FlipSide going for something a little bit quicker here to kick things off. We see some set smokes coming out here from essentially T-Spawn, and Blade leading by example with the entries with Waylander, but the response from Gambit, not too shabby. They have 3 kills. They had the man advantage.
It is one of the first times they've had this in quite some time in a rifle round, so they've got to capitalize on this, but Waylander's going to go in once again. Both players being in heaven is going to be difficult to deal with. That failed Molotov actually could allow the CTs back into this round now. If it connects, it's going to waste valuable time. They may have to force their way out. Instead, it's going to be all on World Edit to try and hold this down. He's still on the side himself. The bitch comes through and lands the spray through the wall. It's a costly round. Definitely wasn't clear-cut. But it will go the way of Gambit, and I'm sure Fitch will pick up the AWP after he's done defusing.
Fitch has been so on point in these post-plant scenarios. He's had several retake, clutch-type situations where he's been in a 1v2 or a 2v2, and he's come up with the final couple of frags to close it out for Gambit. I mean, I feel like 3 of the 5 rounds Gambit have won have been off the back of Fitch retakes. Not to say he's doing it alone. He's had some support in some of these scenarios from some of his teammates, but, I mean, his 10 kills have... I mean, almost all of them have led to victories for his team. Definitely having the impact frags, so props to the new guy.
Yeah, definitely been the most promising and the most impressive of the new players today. Did spot a glimpse of a player trying to jump over the wall and scout onto short tunnels, not able to land the headshot. Instead, Electronic actually ate quite a bit of damage from a nade. He's down to 66. Dozier playing the tight right side of Monster from a T's perspective. Doesn't want to show anything. He's only got a FAMAS as well. The greatest of weapons. The weakest in total on Gambit. They're going to be smoking off Monster once again. So Dozier can cross if he so chooses. And he will scamper back to the site.
And again, that focus from FlipSide over here towards B. It's been their favored side throughout this half. They've had pretty good success with it, other than some of these retakes coming through for Gambit. Their executes have always been fairly good. They're going to go for it once more. Smokes are out, and they're making their way in.
Again, though, Gambit just out in the middle of nowhere, getting picked off one by one. It doesn't seem to be too much cohesion. Electronic's going to give his teammate a couple love taps, but it's not going to stop the bomb from being planted and Gambit from being in a horrible situation. Pretty sure Electronic just saw Fitch hop up over a graffiti wall. And now with Mo and Fitch both in the same position, with really nothing to play with, Mo is piecing the hell out of here. He's going to maybe try and put a bit of presence down before he tries to run away and salvage the AWP. But ultimately, the end result is the same. FlipSide will pick up an 8th round, and Mo will not save his AWP. Gambit in real trouble.
Yeah, especially because all their rounds have kind of been on islands, right? They've never really shoot together more than 2, and now they've just been hard reset, and so this means that this round they have very little to work with, and again, the CTs are always the ones that struggle from resets the most, and you're certainly seeing an example of that now as Gambit will just be working with some upgraded pistols and armor, and this is giving FlipSide a real route to coming up with a big half on their T side, at least a 9th, you'd imagine. But Fitch with the Deagle, getting aggressive and connector with Mo, they get the opening 2 kills. They can safely pick up these 2 guns as well. And all of a sudden, FlipSide have to worry here as Mo, whoa, that's a great snapshot.
This is something that Gambit have failed to really capitalize on so far, and that's these aggressive plays. Again, I said the overpass lends itself to more aggressive CT sides, and we've only really seen them do this kind of play in pistols. They haven't done it in rifles, so I'm hoping they will switch that up, because allowing FlipSide to ultimately set play onto sites, these guys know what they're doing. Blade is a well-regimented leader. He knows what he's doing. Of course, FlipSide, this roster has been together for a while now, so it's not as if they're a new roster. They've got a few new players in the mix. Around the side comes Dozier. He's in connector currently. Gonna watch for the rotation. So with 45 seconds, starting to make a move on the A side. Plenty of nades are being exchanged between the two teams, but it's now all depleted for Gambit. They only have to run off the CZ, the AK, and the AWP. Should be enough to contest with the remaining two terrorists, but Hobbit has burnt to a crisp, and all the kills are going the way of FlipSide. This is a round that Gambit needed to pick up. They still could, if Dozier can get himself that AK in the right position at the right time. He doesn't have a kit. It's going to have to come down to raw fragging power. Blaze trying to flirt with the smoke. Electronic watching into bank. Now the shadow's been spotted, just delaying the inevitable. FlipSide will pick up a 9th round, and Gambit will be bitterly disappointed they didn't do better.
Yeah, there's been a couple of these eco rounds, I should say, or force buy type rounds where Gambit have been close. Now they had that one round against Waylander where they had him down really low and almost stole it. Didn't quite happen, and this is another one of those scenarios where they open up very well. They get those 2 kills in connector. Even Mo picks up the op and gets a 3rd frag, so it came down to what, a 2v4 at that point? Yet somehow FlipSide figure it out. Now they have 9 rounds on the board, and again Gambit, even in the last round, have not much to work with, and 2 are already out of the equation. Mo trying to fight back on the other side of the map, does get 1.
So FlipSide are odds-on favourites now to take a 10-5 lead on their T side. You often see that on the other side of the coin, on the CT side, but in great shape. Dozier and Mo isolated from one another. Dozier's playing B, Mo just outside of the bathrooms. We know he's got it within him to pull off some miraculous plays with the CZ. He's currently 17 and 12, by the way. He's quite a distance between him and Fitch, who's second with 11. He's been doing a great job for his team. It's just there hasn't been that much to share the burden with. CZ in prime position to strike. And of course, as soon as you hype up a player, he's going to whiff. All on Dozier. It is D. Not going to happen. Electronic is too fast on the trigger. And 10-5 will be the score. Gambit, they've got to get this pistol. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. If they don't, they're going to be constantly struggling to get anywhere close to equalizing this map.
Yeah, and again, you also have to kind of wonder, like, what are their T-sides going to look like now? You know, Adren, someone that they really rely on to open up things for them as an entry man, particularly on the A side of the map on default. Is he going to have a harder time doing that job now that he's trying to call shots? You know, that's something you have to really think about, you know, as far as the way the team operates and whether it takes away from Adren individually when it comes to his firepower, especially considering how consistent he's been. I mean, he's one of the best players in the world, definitely the best in his role of entry fragging. I mean, he's already had a tougher time on the CT side, so you have to wonder if some of that is the taxing of having to take the responsibility of leading the team. Well, we'll see how this half plays out. As you noted, FlipSide are certainly in the advantageous position.
Heavy stack on B by FlipSide. They've got 4 players here. That's just leaving Blade by himself. Not necessarily the most individually skilled player on FlipSide to hold down the fort by himself. Interestingly enough, we've got a Warcloth without the silencer on his USP, and he's going to go down. Not something you see too often. More in the meanwhile, he's watching for the retake potential, and Gambit looking good to actually pick up the second pistol and give himself a chance in this map after all. Electronic may have something to say about that. He's in a 1v5. There's the first of what he's hoping is many. Doesn't have a kit though. There's the decoy and his Kevlar. Second frag does go his way, and he's looking for more. He's picked up 4. Hobbit is now going to have to try and clutch this round, and Electronic is trying to tap his way to victory. There may not be enough anyway to get this kill because he doesn't have a kit. Oh, nice try, Electronic, but not quite nice enough. He's got everybody down. He's going to take those Kevlars away. But the round will still go to Gambit. That is heartbreaking.
That is, man. You give him like a few more seconds, he might even have time to pull off that defuse. It was a brilliant individual effort from Electronic, but you kind of shake your head that it even happened that way. Gambit were so on point. It was the perfect storm for them where they ran into a stack on the B side of the map, but they only committed limited resources to it because they were more focused on taking A. And on top of that, the limited resources they committed to B came through. Like, Hobbit was getting kills into the B bombs. Like, everything was going their way. And then somehow Electronic almost blows it up by himself. With just some crazy tapping of the USP, but fortunately for Gambit, he didn't have time. And so it's no harm, no foul. They'll get their 6th round on the board. They'll start trying to work to close the gap. They won't let FlipSide get out of hand with their lead. Because they have a chance to see if they can't close it even further in a round like this, but can always be tricky with these CZs, but Mark Orlov, caught by Fitch.
I just feel like that previous round is the epitome, it's the personification of NT by Electronic. So close yet so far. But speaking of the man himself, he's currently on short. Waylander crab walking his way through the smoke alongside him. They're gonna try their hand at some aggression. Electronic's been boosted up onto the sandbags, but decides better of this position and backs away. FlipSide have lost the opening pick. Markolov is down and very much out. World edit. Nice shot onto Mo. That's going to open up some opportunities now for FlipSide. He hasn't seen anyone else just yet, but he's about to find out with MAC-10s and Molotovs firing his way. Down he goes to the hands of a Dread. Waylander flashbang. Didn't realize he was sticking out the smoke, but how the hell is Dread not getting that kill? A player of his caliber should be getting that all day, every day. Leaves it on Blade. And he's managed to snake his way around the back. Now, if they're not careful, he could pounce. He's coming through the bathroom side. He's got a P250 in his hands. Will land the first headshot. Now Hobbit. Very special player. Surely he'll take this round down, but no play gets it done. Managed to succeed where Electronic wasn't in the previous round. And Gambit, you've got to say, how are they losing these rounds?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that Waylander gets a kill out of that spot. I mean, he, like you said, his foot was poking out big time. They knew exactly where he was, that he does get one. Electronic fits in one with the P250. Sets up Blade for a 1v2 on the flank. The timing is a bit too quick for Gambit, I suppose, to catch on to it. He gets the free frag on the bomb planner. Then has the 1v1. Manages to get the AK in his hands and make it happen. I have to say, Blade has actually done pretty well individually throughout this game. Not normally one you call upon for the numbers, but he's definitely shown up in this game, and that's been great news for FlipSide, on top of some of their other players performing well. He's really added to it. Now they've reset Gambit. Gambit, of course, will force buy right back up, so we're going to be kind of in that back-and-forth scenario that's oh so common when second round does not go to the winner of Pistol. So it will be like this until someone can net a couple in a row, you'd imagine. FlipSide will try to be the one to do that quickly.
Hyper-aggressive plays. Hobbit's going to run out of bullets with his CZ. One of the pitfalls of the weapon. The rest of his team is good to land the frag. Fitch with some pretty slick spray control. I mean, he's going to bag himself 2 kills. And although the nades are ripping through the health bars of Gambit, they still have 3 players on the server capable of clutching this round out. Although the term clutch is going to have to come on the side of Electronic if he wants to take this. He's either 1-on-3. There's the first. Last 2 players are low. He came so close earlier. This time he does have a kit. This time he has a smoke as well. He's able to cordon off short. The issue being that he's not sure where these 2 players are, and he has to give every single corner its due attention. Gonna stick down on the defuse. Pros don't fake, and Adren realizes it. Down goes Electronic. Gambit bounce right back in. And that's almost the worst case scenario for FlipSide. They have now been completely broken. They're into a force buy. Otherwise, it would be double eco anyway.
Yeah, it's just going to be the forcing back and forth again until someone can get a couple in a row. If Gambit can do it here, FlipSide would finally have to save, and that's where they'd have their chance to bring this one back over to their side. Great work there, getting into that B-bomb site quickly, particularly Hobbit with some of that work with the CZ, able to open things up for his team. Because Markelov is going to get boosted here and does get some free damage on the Hobbit. Markelov, he might just hunt it down. He's actually going to push sandbags and look for all of it, and he'll get it. That's Hobbit out. They can get that Mac 10 as well into play. As the rest of the focus from Gambit, though, is going to be towards A, which is rather empty right now. So the bomb plan is almost assured at this point. Blade going to get caught by a Dren, so that rotation being cut off.
A bomb down, and the flip side with decisions. Getting clumped up and found out around Fountain. Dren's already with one, will get plucked out by Electronic. There is an AK waiting for him on long, and I'm sure he knows this. He's going to venture across and trade out his Mac 10, the AK-47. Dozia gets wrecked by a flashbang, still able to take down Waylander.
That was a weird exchange.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this map has had so many moments like that.
Yeah, Dozier just stares into his teammate's flashbang. Should have been a free kill for Waylander with that 5-7, but not to be, and Dozier actually even farms a couple of more kills, getting some extra dollars in the bank account for his team. So then we'll have a nice full buy in this one, and flip side again, don't really have the money to do a whole hell of a lot. This is Gambit's opportunity to start to get back into the mix here on Overpass. Again, such a great map for Gambit with their previous lineup.
I guess Woldetic just prefers the USP without the silencer on it. Fair enough. It's 2 or 3 times I've seen him with that now. Gambit, in the meanwhile, with full AKs, have got to make the most of this. No more room for error, no more room for slipping up, and really this is going to be one of the best times to play Gambit with their very recent roster change under new leadership.
Yeah, it's one of those moves that's it's not just the one move of swapping a player, it's also the fact that another player is taking a new role, so you've made 2 pretty big changes at that point.
Exactly, and it shifts the dynamic of the team in a pretty violent, turbulent way. Now, flip side have got themselves 1 kill, but now Waylander and Electronic are able to get any more damage done. Electronic has an AK. Aim punch is always going to be an issue. Didn't really matter as Fitch got the better of him from the side. And Gambit have brought it back. They've only lost 1 round in their T-half so far. Flipside will have a full M4 purchase unless Blade wants to go for an AWP. It would be a glass cannon, and of course he's not renowned for being an AWPer anyway, so he is going to come through with an M4. More nades, more firepower. They do still have a kit as well on Markelov.
So we'll see if Gambit can complete the comeback. We've had a lot of mini comebacks today, a lot of closing of the gap, you know, taking a one-sided half and responding pretty well, but it's never come all the way through. But Gambit might have a chance to do just that as Hobbit catches a very nice headshot on the Blade. He comes through short pipe and catches him through the window. Not an easy shot to hit by any means, and Hobbit makes it look easy as the rest of his team are clearing out the A side, but this push at Fountain, it's reeled it back in for FlipSide, but as soon as I say that, Fitch is responding. But it's just a back and forth affair. So many of these rounds have come down to late round 2v2s.
Yeah, Flipside doing something that we didn't see Gambit do at all with rifles. That's pushed super aggressively. It may end up backfiring, but I can definitely respect they're trying to mix things up. Hobbit onto Waylander actually, pardon me. Well, that it was already dead and buried in Graffiti. Gambit continue their winning ways. We'd like to highlight as well, though, even though Flipside we're really struggling for a large portion of this map. Electronic's on 26 and 14. Nearest player on his team's Blade, and Wayland, who are on 18 and 16 kills respectively. Like he is seriously carrying Flipside right now. They need him to continue to pick up that pace, otherwise Gambit definitely could still bring this map back.
Yeah, Electronic has definitely been someone that everyone's really had their eyes on lately. He's such a great, promising prospect from the CIS region. That's why a lot of people were excited to hear that he might be on Na'Vi. It wasn't meant to be, but he can still be a carry for this team. As I say that, though, this is kind of just a farm round for Gambit, isn't it? Flip side, nothing really on the table here, and so Gambit looking to tie this thing right up at 11 all.
Hobbit should be claiming the last kill. Waylander, the final player to fall. Just Dozier will go down with them. All even. This half currently residing at 6-1 for Gambit. Goes to show how rough their CP side was, but seemingly they're waking up from that slumber. It to be a very healthy buy. Gambit will be tossing the MAC-10 away that was in the hands of Mo, and rightfully so. It would really only be Electronic that could be susceptible to MAC-10, and there's no way of Gambit knowing that at this stage.
So we see World that actually taking the AWP over towards the B side, which is very kind of common for him, you know, and especially for this map. Most operators would play A side. There's a few who get a little bit dynamic with it, particularly Device, but it'll be World Edit who's actually going to take it through short, as Markelov is going to use that AWP to help himself push forward with a rifle and just get short B control. Just make sure that they're getting information, denying some free map control to Gambit. And I mean, they're right in the correct place because Gambit were looking to split B through connector, but Fitch still picks up Blade in the stairwell and could do more. But Markelov here to respond.
The response is quick and brutal. The kills being traded between the two teams. Still a minute to play with. 8 players have fallen. 6, pardon me. Now 7. All on Electronic. Up in heaven. Eats a flashbang to the face. That incendiary is on point, but it's a little bit too late. It could, however, afford him to kill onto Mo. Mo's able to scamper off into short, and that's probably the end of the round. Electronic, as good as he is, as good as he's been playing, if Gambit play this correctly, there shouldn't be a way for him back into this. They have the player advantage, and now they have the health advantage too. Gambit have bridged the gap from a 10-5 deficit. They now lead 12-11, and FlipSide once again up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah, I mean, the first half was quite back and forth, right? I mean, it was a lot of 2-round winning streaks and 3-round winning streaks, and you're always seeing the opponent be able to respond and keep the half pretty close. It wasn't until the very end that FlipSide were able to, like, pull out the lead in the last couple of rounds of the half. But here, Gambit, they've only given up 1 round this entire half. They've been so on point. They have 6 in a row, very likely a 7th in a row, and another round added to their lead unless FlipSide can make magic happen with these upgraded pistols, and that might be just the ticket. We'll let it finds a kill on the Hobbit, who's been so good at getting that short pipe control throughout this game. He's been denied this time, and it gives World Edit an AK. Now, he could pass that off to an armored player, like Electronic or something, but right now he's actually looking for more frags.
I mean, he's literally stood next to Markelov, who has one of the Kevlars. It's kind of surprising to me that he hasn't switched that over. Obviously, aim punch is going to be a real issue for him to deal with. Maybe it's like, you keep what you kill. You know, he gets the frag, and so this AK is now mine, but if he gets aim punched out of the round, you've got to question that decision. HE is going to be bouncing into the water side. Plenty of CTs around this vicinity. There's 4 in total, with a 5th coming in very shortly. That's going to be Electronic, but Markelov has fallen. The AK is going to play no further part in this round either, unless it's picked up by either Waylander or Electronic, and Waylander's going to get it under his grasp, but it's too little too late. All on Electronic. He's in another clip situation. It's gone very much the same way as the others, with Gambit having their hand raised in triumph. 13-11 once again. Gambit in winning ways in their T-half.
Indeed, and there's really not much more time for FlipSide to make a response. I mean, they're running out of money and they're running out of rounds. They will have a full buy on this one, but if you lose this, you're right back to a really low buy situation when Gambit goes for map point. So this is the one you really have to make count if you're FlipSide. If you want to have an easier time getting your way back into this, they do, again, try to get a little bit aggressive here towards Fountain. They do have Electronic pushed up with the M4, World Edit backing it up with the AWP. So denying that space to Gambit for now, as Blade also holds connector from the top of the stairs, and Electronic from around the fountain does get a kill, and so does World Edit. And this couldn't have gone better for FlipSide.
I love that they were actually watching each other's backs as well. World Edit was watching just to make sure no one pushed from the playground. Other player looking down onto the staircase on ramp. Hobbit, in the meanwhile, though, he's going to bounce back. So again, FlipSide get the opening 2 picks, and it's back to equality. And with both those players dying around mid, FlipSide are going to start to rotate their way onto the A side.
That was good work from Fitch. Fitch had some really good flashbangs to chase that AWP down of World Edit to get this back into a 3-on-3. So again, the newcomer to the lineup, making his impact known. Even though he wasn't fragging, he was really supporting his teammate Hobbit there to get them back into this. Now they have a winnable 3-on-3.
Blade could be the linchpin, though, in connector. That spot Fitch, it's a hit and run. I think he may have seen the bomb also drop. It's a pretty massive frag. Only 20 seconds left. They're going to have to traverse through connector if they want to go B, and that's where Blade is currently residing. They need to get in. There's just simply not enough time to be messing around anymore. They've got the frag. Only 9 seconds. This is going to be pushing it incredibly close. That nade has damage written all over it. It's going to bounce to the backside and kill Hobbit, and Waylander cleans up the rest. Gambit took so much time, just sat around in mid hoping for the best, and, well, Blade struck.
Yeah, Blade getting the kill on the Fitch is one thing, and getting the bomb down and slowing it down, but just the way he played it afterwards, to just kind of sit in connector and kind of trust that, okay, I have 2 of my teammates playing A, the only way they get B is through me in connector, and he just bought the time, kind of jiggle peeking around there in the back, and even though he went down, he already did his job. He bought enough time for his team to rotate once he got the information that they were definitely going to go B through short. And so Blade gets a lot of credit for reeling that one back in for FlipSide after it did get a bit dicey. Shows you, though, what the opening in this round, but Electronic quick to respond.
Loving the aggression as well, again by FlipSide. Name's not quite following it up, but the idea I like. The issue is, though, they've lost more players than they've taken down. And so, therefore, Waylander and Markelov have the weight of the world on their shoulders. That a key part of this map as well. This would put Gambit into a 14-12 lead with FlipSide in all kinds of trouble, economically speaking, and they've been plucked out. Hobbit with the clutch. Gambit with a 14-12 lead, and not really a pot to piss in for FlipSide. I mean, Markelov has 1,400, 1,500 for Blades.
Yeah, worst time to get reset, really. I mean, you did so much great work in that last round, particularly off of Blade to win it, but the problem was they lost 3 players, so they had to rebuy quite a lot, and then they get reset here. In a situation that turned into another 1v1, so again, a lot of close number scenarios here in late rounds, but Gambit on the better end of it there. Just, they set themselves up so well to keep trading. Like, anytime they gave up a kill, they always had someone in position to trade right back and blindside the previous player, so really just well set up by Gambit. Great coordination, and their reward is they get an easy map point here, as FlipSide have basically nothing to work with. And even in the next round, it's not going to be ideal. Only 1,900 coming in, so I mean, the most money you're going to have is on Electronic, who will actually be okay, but money's going to be low on several other players. As I say that, though, Electronic, 2 CZ frags, they pick up an AK, goes for a third, gets it. Of course this would happen.
He hasn't lost a single point of health either.
Unreal, isn't it?
How is that happening? Gambit could still, of course, steer the ship away from the rocks. They managed to take this round down, but again, it just goes to show how scrappy this game has been.
Absolutely. I can't even tell you how many 2v2s we've had in the last, 30, 40 seconds of rounds.
30 seconds left, and Waylander, the snake in the grass, will dispatch of Doja. It's a 50-50 choice, and he seems like he's guessed right so far. He's going A. Electronics on B. It's going to be a free plant. And in that scenario, you'd feel like Adren has this under wraps. He's a very smart player, very skilled player. And with Electronic on no Kevlar, this is asking so much of him.
This timing is going to be killer, because you see Electronics flanking through connector and Adren's pushing washroom, so this is going to be very interesting how this plays out.
There it is, the headshot, overkill. Adren will clutch. 15-12, FlipSide. This is the reason for the save. It affords them a little bit more. They're still not great. This is going to be a couple of M4s and a FAMAS. Going to be no kits though. Lack of nades. Can they hold on for dear life and take us to overtime? That nades is going to do a bunch of damage. I actually thought it would do more to Hobbit than just 31. It looked like it landed plumb on his face. Just CS nade things. We'll never understand them. Adren worse for wear on 55. So the early confrontations have gone the way of FlipSide. This is what they were looking for. Already expending the bulk of their utility though. Only one smoke left, a hat full of flashes. That smoke's now been used, so they're really going to be running sparse in terms of any kind of nadage later on in the round.
Yeah, such a great trading setup though at Monster, the way these players are positioned at pillar, that if anyone comes through Monster, like FlipSide's always gonna be able to take a fight right back. It's gonna be very hard to stack frags if you're Gambit, the way FlipSide are set up. So I actually quite like this for FlipSide. But that's a piece already down for free.
Yeah, down goes Wayland, that's gonna sting. Markloff with 2 though, and now the MP9 is doing very good close range. Markloff with a 3rd. FlipSide, the blink of an eye exploding into this round and making a bunch of kills stick. Adren cheekily, partially through the wall, is going to take down Markloff, but he's not long for this world. And FlipSide will take down the round, trade across to the north and a couple of AKs. And now it's Gambit's turn to feel the pinch as their finances have dwindled away.
Yeah, and they're kind of in a weird scenario where they have to kind of take a save here. That means that FlipSide will be able to push this to 14, and then all of a sudden you're playing for the closest margin of victory possible, or perhaps our first overtime of this qualifier. And it will be just some pistol and armor here. Not even everyone is armored. Mo is, in fact, just on a full Glock save because he wants to make sure he gets an AWP in the next round. So this doesn't leave Gambit a whole lot to pose a threat with in a round like this.
This is where you hate to see FlipSide lose in a position like this. Like they've got to make this work. You cannot afford to let anything slip by. Electronic again on the spot to deliver as much mayhem as possible. Adren last man standing, but he has been knocked out. Electronic 34 kills now. Although Gambit are in the lead by 1 round, their top fraggers on 26. So actually, FlipSide's trail, but they have the 2 top fraggers with Electronic and Waylander. It's not often you see that.
Yeah, the frag distribution for Gambit's just been a little bit tighter. I mean, they got 4 players in the 20s. So that's definitely been good stuff for them, as this is the last round of regulation. Will we need overtime? That's what we're trying to decide. FlipSide certainly hoping they can do just that. As again, Blade getting aggressive here in Connector could maybe blindside some players coming up towards Party, but that's coming into the equation. And they'll trade out so well here over towards Party. And now it's a 2 versus 4. You gotta favor FlipSide's chances at this point to force the extra rounds. Adren and Hobbit, though, 2 strong players. We'll see if they can't keep things going. There's one from Hobbit.
Nice flick by Will, let it. Hobbit, 1 on 3. Do you have this new locker? You don't have the bomb, you don't have nades, you only have time and 50% of your health. Good luck to you, sir. It's going to be a ridiculous clutch if he pulls this off. First adversary going to be Electronic, and he dispatches, landing his 35th kill of regulation. That is one hell of a performance, and without him, simply put, Gambit would already be 1-0 up in his best of 3.
Absolutely, it was Gambit for the majority of that half, but right when it mattered the most, FlipSide dug deep and found a way to win some key rounds to force this thing into extra rounds. And so we'll have to see who will take this map. Will we need even more extra rounds? Can we decide it in 1 OT? It's the first one of this bracket, so interesting times in this CIS region. Kind of slugfest that we've been going through, and a slugfest in every sense of the word. Just how close a lot of these rounds have come. A lot of 2v2s, a lot of mid-round 3v3 situations, lots of chaotic trading, some kind of crazy antics where rounds really, you know, went ways you didn't expect them to. It's had it all.
Definitely hasn't been the best CS that I've ever watched, that's for sure, but it has been entertaining in its own way. There's been a lot of strange head-scratching moments. There's been some epic plays by likes of Electronic. I still feel bad for him. He wasn't able to clutch that pistol because he didn't have a kit. Very unlucky. Great effort, though. There's been some brilliant sprinkled in with some pretty poor plays, I think it's safe to say. But overtime is where we're headed. For those of you curious as well about what maps are being played, this is the first one. It's Overpass, of course, which was the choice of FlipSide. Next up is Train, picked by Gambit, and then Cash is the decider if we need it. So this has the makings of being a pretty solid best of 3, because FlipSide, although it's Gambit's choice, FlipSide, of course, notoriously play a lot of Train themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely a good map for Gambit. There's no question about that. It's one of their top 3 maps alongside this one and Cobblestone, at least with their previous 5. FlipSide's had really mixed results on Train, to be honest. Like, I've seen some good, I've seen some bad. So not really sure what to expect from them on that front, whereas Overpass for them has always been pretty good. Now we come down to extra rounds again. I'm not sure if it's 16K or 10K MR3. I'm pretty sure it's MR3, so it'll be race to 19. I think it's MR3 10K if I'm not mistaken. That's what usually gets used. It's kind of the more common format, but I know I've seen some DreamHack events that have used the 16K, so not really sure.
Yeah, I assume it's the standard, honestly, for overtime, what you're used to seeing.
We'll find out soon enough.
This, of course, is our first overtime of the event so far. Yeah. The other 2 matches were pretty one-sided. Both G2 and Envious, as expected, do come out ahead 2-0. And both of those games, actually, I think the closest map score we got was 16-12, and even then that's kind of skewed because it included sort of like a 5-round win streak for the team that ended up losing. So it could have been a hell of a lot more one-sided, so into unfamiliar territory today, but here we go. It's going to be... Actually... Is it 16K? Okay,
that's like it.
Fair enough.
Are we even sure it's MR3? Is there some chance it's MR5 and I'm
That's mistaken? What I was thinking. I wonder if it is MR3 or not.
We'll find out. As the rounds go along, Vince. We'll learn together.
It's MR3 16K, apparently. Okay. So, there you have it. It's a little bit more forgiving for the CT side, all things considered.
Basically, economy is a non-factor. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
So, in normal, like, if you've got 10K start or whatever, then you're looking at CTs getting plastered if they lose the first round or 2, especially if they've got heavy investments. But as we're talking, FlipSide has been dismantled. Yeah, this has been a demolition job. Only Waylander remains. How much longer is the question, and the answer has just been given to us.
I feel like Dren just said, just threw the script away and just went man mode all over that fountain area and just kept it chugging along. Took a break from in-game leading for a moment. Just said, I'm just going to go pure entry frag this round. I'm done with this. Steam rolls through.
One hell of a moment to switch things up. First round of overtime. FlipSide not expecting it, they get punished. A bunch of players crossed to playground. No one's actually peeped long just yet, and that's probably for the best, because we'll let it late there and wait with his AWP. Flashed and gives his position away. May look to fall back. Gambit clumped up around balloons and playground. Just Hobbit, who is running on the flank around B. You shall know pesky CT is going to get themselves in harm's way. What a long presence being shown. Electronics in the bathroom side, but now he's by himself. Will that it can't afford to peek for him. He doesn't know how far the terrorists have managed to get their way up. So much of this comes down to timing you have to feel. And if one of these two players falls at long, it's just going to completely collapse. And they've both fallen now that Will Let It has been put down by Mo. To make matters worse, the player in bathroom was also found wanting. And Gambit with a 4v2 lead truly can pull the trigger and clutch this round. But Markloff may have something to say about that, but he's been taken down, upped out of his shoes. Mo, the adversary. Dozier, the assailant, onto Waylander, and Gambit have taken a 2-round lead.
Yeah, these rounds have been crisp and clean. There's really not been too much resistance out of FlipSide. These aggressive setups at the A side of the map have been dismantled by Gambit across the board. Odrin did it with the hat trick in the first round. That round is a little bit more of a team affair. Everyone kind of chiming in on that as Gambit are now 2 ahead, looking to maybe get the clean sweep 3-0 half here, which would be big news for them on perhaps ending this in the first overtime, as Electronic again trying to get aggressive with that M4 at the A side. They have not been successful with this in the previous 2 rounds, but Electronic will try his luck once more. He'll get 1, but that's not enough.
Ooh, Fitch is going to thread the head of World Edit with a 7.62 round, delivered first class. Down and out. Will be resurrected in the next round. That will see him joining the T side as opposed to the CT side. Hobbit, though, will connect onto Waylander, who has felt pressure. Felt like he had to push around and try and get some information or potentially flank kills, but by dying, he's just made it a whole lot more of a tenuous situation for Markelov. Can he wind back the years, pull out something truly spectacular from the past?
Just tell him it's a major qualifier.
There you go. Let's see.
He'll flip the switch.
Okay, he's got 2. Not many bullets left in the magazine. But he's done his job, but Mo. He's not going to miss that shot onto Blade. 18-15. 3 map points for Gambit.
Yeah, that was pretty dominant from Gambit, to be quite honest. I mean, we talked about how during regulation we had a lot of really early exchanges that were quite chaotic, a lot of 3v3s and 2v2s, but those rounds were really clean from Gambit. That one kind of got close towards the end thanks to Markelov, but you never really felt like Gambit were losing it. And in the end, it is 18-15. Gambit need just 1 more to take this one, as this is indeed FlipSide's map pick. But obviously, it's still very much home turf for Gambit when you consider what they were doing with their previous 5. And it hasn't changed that much.
It feels bad, man. If FlipSide have battled back against the odds to take us into overtime, and then they just get slaughtered 19-15. So let's hope that they have a second wind and come back into this overtime. Make a real go of it. Hasn't started well for them. Electronic, their star player, their talisman. The man who dropped 35 in regulation is now down and out. Now they need a new hero to step up, to put that cape on. Well, then it nearly had the right idea, but Hobbit was too fast with his M4. And it's gone from bad to worse. Blade, Waylander, Markelov. One of them needs to come up massive for FlipSide. They go back and pick up the bomb, which is dropped T-side of connector. Waylander has got an entry frag onto A. That's going to draw out the rotation from Hobbit. So 2-2 formation now being implemented by Gambit. But Hobbit comes back with a kill of his own. And it's starting to look really ominous for FlipSide. Only 35 seconds in which they need to push on a site. And Blade's been plucked out from Mo's AWP, and so will Markelov. Gambit, they struggled. It was up and down. They had a really rough first half, but they bring it back. And they win overtime 19-15. Very disappointed for FlipSide, because I felt like they had a real shot once they hit overtime, but they just got beasted in the end.
Yeah, you got to consider, though, that